Alright guys, welcome back to Formula 1 drama. Rumour has it Ferrari are in shambles here in the off-season, with Matteo Binotto handing in his resignation, but the team could not yet accept it because they don't really have an actual replacement lined up yet, and Ross Brawn has confirmed really that he's not going to be the man for Ferrari. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always. Let's dive into things then. This article from Giuliano De Chessa discussing that basically it's a done deal. Binotto's gone, Elkan at the president there, they don't really get along, they have different visions, and that it's about time the split happens, saying even a former Mercedes man among the candidates, that might have been referring to Ross Brawn actually, but he said himself that he's not going to be the one. We'll see that in a second. Firstly, just some mentions here from the article that it never really worked, this Binotto-Elkan alliance, and could hardly have worked in the future seasons. But this is really the talking point about destabilising the team. The team, you know, the guys working on the car, they don't want all this chaos once again introduced, and right now it seems incredibly chaotic there behind the scenes, because I think the factory don't even know what's going on. They don't even know, is Binotto staying, is he going, who's we going to get as replacements, is it a good idea to make these changes at a time where arguably Binotto ticked all the boxes from last season. Yes, he didn't win the championship, but Ferrari I think were kind of clear that their goal last year was not necessarily to win, but it was to be competitive again, to be on the front foot pushing for championships. And yes, the way the season started compared to the way it ended, you can understand why Binotto's kind of head is on the line here, but nonetheless it's an interesting question as to whether he should be sacked. And apparently he's basically handing in his resignation after effectively being forced out of the role and realising that he's got to resign at some point, or he's going to have to get kicked out at some point, so might as well resign now and go elsewhere, goes the theory. Now Giuliano also mentions here that a convincing name, like I don't know what this means, it's cryptic, it's kind of Italian press like over the last few days, but a convincing name has now become essential, but it will have to be very convincing. This sounds to me like there is a name in the conversation that would tickle the boxes from what Ferrari want from their team principal, but they would have to convince heavily this individual to join the foray, because it's going to be a serious job being team principal there at Ferrari. The name that people believe this is talking about is Ross Brawn, of course. We talked about yesterday that he might be in the picture again to return. Now, Ross Brawn, very coincidental timing, just released this article. Now, we don't know how long this has been written for, but it just came out about 3 or 4 hours ago on the Formula 1 website, where Ross Brawn, who has been the managing director for Formula 1 over the last couple of seasons, was a, big part of the regulation changes, talks about how things have gone down the last couple of seasons, you know, how great of a place Formula 1 is in. Obviously, a legendary career in motorsport, Benetton, Ferrari, a good time there that we talked about yesterday. But right to the end, if we scroll all the way down through, you know, some nice stories, and hopefully, you know, obviously his future goes well for Ross Brawn. But he says the following: I've loved everything I've done over the last few years. I've moved away from wanting to be part of a team. I decided I've done enough of that. So kind of saying, yeah, I don't want to go back to a team again. And I think even Giuliano De Chessa said in another tweet that, like, yeah, if Ross Brawn's going to come back, it's going to be a 16-hour day. He's going to be absolutely grinding away at this. And not only will they have to pay him a lot, which they don't really mind, but they've got to convince him and his wife and everything to actually commit to this. Because look, the guy's 68. Does he want to take on a role like this? Probably not. Because as he says here in the article, as I say, just a few hours ago, now is the right time for me to retire. I will now watch Formula 1 from my sofa, cursing and cheering as an F1 fan. Please, the sport is in a fantastic place and has such a fantastic future. So, you know, basically just says, yeah, it's time to go away. It's time to call it a day. So pretty much confirming that he's not going to be the man for Ferrari. But that's the thing. If Ross Brawn isn't going to be going to Ferrari, and they don't really have, I mean, look, they reached out to Andrea Seidel. He politely declined, is the rumour. Matteo Binotto has reportedly handed in his resignation, so he's gone, he's out of there. But yet Elkan has not yet accepted this, even though, like, if Binotto knows that he's going to get kicked out anyway, and he's handed in his resignation to say, all right, guys, I want to go and work for another team, basically. And I don't know what that would mean in terms of whether he would just be able to go and join another team straight away, because, you know, even if Ross Brawn was to get approached by Ferrari, would other teams be happy that the man that worked very closely on the regulations that we currently inhabit is just going to go join a team 1 year after working for Formula 1? Maybe that wouldn't fly. And maybe Binotto going to join another team also wouldn't fly with Ferrari, we'll see here in a second. But Ferrari are clearly in a bit of a limbo state where they can't figure out what to do, because Binotto, they want to get rid of him, but yet they can't because they don't have a clear replacement, even though we think Fred Vasseur would surely take up this role, which is still what we believe will happen at the present time. Obviously, you know, great history with many great drivers, alongside Charles Leclerc, of course, previously at Sauber. So, you know, there's a good chance that will actually happen. I think that does make sense for a few different angles for Ferrari, but maybe isn't the ideal choice, and they're still waiting to say, yeah, okay, Binotto, actually, yeah, we don't want you anymore, you've got to go. But if Binotto has handed in the resignation, it's like, well, you GG's, I suppose. So that is the present rumour, at least. Now, this is the thing. 4 teams supposedly want Binotto because, understandably, he's done a great job from a technical perspective on the car that they have built. Yes, might not be the greatest team principal, has probably made a few mistakes in the way that he's managed that, isn't maybe a Hornet or a Wolf in some of his decision-making, but, nonetheless, he's done a good job, you can argue, with, well, at least where they were this season, let's say. So other teams want him. You could very well argue, could Binotto stay at Ferrari in a different role where he might be better suited in a technical type of role? I think that would make more sense. The other teams might want to do a similar thing, because Alpine, they've got their guy Aston Martin, they've got their guy in Mike Crack, of course, but, they probably want Binotto as part of their technical team. So 4 teams, including those 2, Alpine and Aston Martin, are knocking on the door to get Binotto services, but the rumour has it, according to this article, now this might not be true, it's rumours, it's, the Italian press, what can you say at this point? Actually, this one might not be from the Italian press, and maybe worth a slight little bit of more credit at the moment, but I'm basically suggesting that there will be a 6-month period of garden leave in the interim. So after the final details are thrashed out and Binotto is going to be let go, there'll be a big garden leave period where basically meaning you can't join another team. Ferrari will have interims and all this type of stuff. But it will be interesting, right? Because this chaos at the moment behind the scenes at Ferrari is surely not helping their plan for next season. Every other team has got it locked down. Obviously, Red Bull have had their chaos over the last few weeks, but they bounced back nicely in Abu Dhabi, put some of those demons potentially to rest and are ploughing forwards. Mercedes are in a great spot as well. They won a race, they're feeling confident, but yet they still know there's plenty to work on after their performance at Abu Dhabi. They've got the car, the team, the drivers in the right place potentially for next season. Ferrari, they look like they're building a good car, right? They obviously can make some progress off this year's car. They have apparently made some progress with their engine. There's some changes to the floor they're going to ensure. Their tyre degradation isn't so bad. So, some positive signs for Ferrari, but also there's all this going on. Binotto's out. Who's going to come in? What does that mean for the team working on things back in Maranello? It's not an ideal scenario for more chaos and more instability to be occurring here at Ferrari. Tweet your thoughts on that in the comment section below. Do you think this is the right decision from all parties? But, there is a good chance that Leclerc and Vasseur is once again a combo at Ferrari. And if that's the case, Leclerc is probably going to be the clear #1 driver. And things are getting so desperate at Ferrari that not only are they reaching out to Seidel, who has declined from McLaren, also potentially Fred Vasseur. We don't really know what that situation is. But apparently they've also talked to Christian Horner. In what world is, and I don't know if this is true or not, but in what world would Horner ever leave Red Bull to join Ferrari? That would be like such a stupid career decision anyway. And there's just no way he would ever do that in a million years. But apparently Ferrari have spoken to Christian Horner to try and make this happen as a successor. But, given the poisoned chalice that is the role of the team principal at Scuderia Ferrari, there were no takers. And this is the thing, right? People have seen what's happened to Binotto, and even Vasseur may be among them, and thinking, well, is this really the best idea to join Ferrari as their TP? And Christian Horner sure as hell isn't going to do it. So, is this just a sign of them getting very desperate indeed, of needing a team principal desperately, and Binotto's now gone, and no one else decent wants to take up the role? They're reaching out to Horner. Sounds like an absolute shambles as far as I'm concerned. Couple of things to mention before we close out the video. This is a big one for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in 2023 next season. I believe at some point they're meant to have another circuit in Saudi Arabia, but we will be going there again next season. Even maybe the drivers don't want to, right, after what happened this year. But they are improving the safety of the track. Now, some people might argue, and maybe understandably, if you really want to improve the safety of this circuit, maybe installing some anti-missile turrets might be the way to go, or like some SAM turrets or whatever. Some sort of anti-missile defense system might be in order here. But still, this is the track and these are the changes. So new rumble lines at many corners, new curbs added in places also. In some instances to slow the car, I believe. We'll see that in a second. And also walls adjusted for better visibility. And honestly, this track is, it's honestly kind of a fantastic track in my opinion. It flows really nicely. That lap, right, that Verstappen lap in qualifying for the 2021 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, where Brundle's in commentary saying he's leaving no margin out there at all. He knows this is it. This is the lap of the weekend. You guys know that one where he put it in the wall on the final corner. But that lap was just mesmerizing. And I think it's an example of what this circuit can do so well. Then again, this circuit is inevitably going to cause some horrific incidents at some point in the future. And they're trying to take some aims to make that not happen anymore. So this is turn 14 out of that beautiful kind of banked turn 13. You go around this corner. Now the wall is much wider so you can actually see what's upcoming, which I think is a very sensible decision. Same story around turn 20 here. So this is part of the DRS straight. Usually you can't see what's around this corner if something's gone wrong, Like, it could be absolutely terrible. So you can get better visibility here. Now, a few other changes as well. For example, at this corner right where Leclerc went into the barriers in 2021, this is, this is turn 20 to 23, like a really tricky corner because you come around here with massive speed. And if you have any moment, if you have any instability in the car, you're straight into the wall at 200 miles an hour. So, it's not maybe ideal. And they're potentially going to try and slow this down a bit, right? Just because, as our Fabregas says right here, turn 22 and 23, they've tried to reduce the speed by 50 kph here. So not exactly sure what they're doing to achieve that, but that is the plan for this corner, turn 22, 23. So I don't know, I like the idea, I like the changes. I think that it is a great track, but it does have, it is kind of a recipe for disaster the way it's currently designed. So, because, incredibly high speed street circuits is always going to cause its problems. So I think the changes they're making are good. So hopefully we get some clean and danger-free racing at this circuit next season. Quick comment on this because more rumours circulating that Mick Schumacher, the deal to Mercedes is done and dusted, and he is going to be officially their reserve driver, just like Nick de Vries was this past season. Announcement expected soon. So stay tuned for that. But apparently that is now a done deal after all the speculation the past few days. I just wanted to mention this because I wasn't really sure what was going on about this the other day, but we saw that Hamilton's double overtake was nominated as basically FIA Action of the Year. What they've done here is they've selected from all their different racing series they do, basically the best action of the year from each series. So there was this one, Ollie Behrman in Formula 3, double overtake around Zandvoort. And so basically what this means is that double overtake from Hamilton has been selected by the FIA as the best Formula 1 moment of the season. You guys can vote for your favourite out of all of them I'll leave a link down below or something like that. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.